Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Robert, Ziggy, Ziegler, and producer Zach is with us today. Producer Zach, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here. Look at you, a little pip in your step, your spark in your eye.
I'm a highlighter.
You're ready to go. You're ready. Yeah, you are a highlighter. No Jack with us today. Yeah, there's Ziggy in the corner there. You could see him there.
I'll put him on full screen so everybody can see beautiful Ziggy.
No Jack with us today.
This
He'll
is
be
why you have a producer in the house, because the real star gets to take up the full camera.
Yeah. When we have Zach with us, Ziggy gets a little bit bigger role on the show here, and that's why he demands more money when we have contract negotiations. Thank God we locked Ziggy down on a long-term deal this offseason, because
I don't know. I'm feeling like Myles Garrett over here. I don't care how much you've committed to me. I want to win.
A little holdout, maybe a holdout coming from you, but you're not tradable, Ziggy, like Myles Garrett. While the world thinks that you're on the market, you're really not tradable. So it's too big of a contract for us to send. Have you talked to LeBron James like Myles Garrett did about leaving the Paul Farrington show?
I have not. LeBron James, he didn't pick up my phone call. I gave him a ring. He said he's too busy hanging out with Luka. He'll get back to me tomorrow.
Yeah, ridiculous. So the Super Bowl is finally here. The Chiefs and the Eagles have the rematch coming up on Sunday. Hope everyone has fun Super Bowl plans for the big game. And then we're going to be doing a reaction show afterwards. I believe it's going to be all of us. Maybe not sure what producer Zach's work schedule is yet, but Jack should be here. Ziggy and I will be on. And today we're going to do the preview show. Now, we're not going to get too into the weeds on the technical stuff and offense versus defense. It's going to be a little more fun because this is, after all, the Super Bowl. We're going to do the top 10 players in the game. Ziggy and I rotating turns. And just from the preview we had, we don't know each other's list, but we had a brief discussion pre-show. I'm not quite sure where this list is going to go. Some big names might be left off. Some questionable names might be added to the list. I'm really not sure where it's going to go. We're going to do prop bets. I laid out a bunch of prop bets for the Super Bowl that you could, if you want to hop on and get on these with us, go for it. We'll squad ride them. But there's some pretty fun prop bets if you look hard enough for this game. And then at the very end, JJ McCarthy hopped on the Rich Eisen show. Talked a little bit about what's going on with him, what he's expecting, what he wants from this offseason with the Vikings, the Sam Darnold drama. Quick touch on what's happening in Minnesota with our Vikings. For now, one thing we ask you guys, actually a couple things we ask you guys, to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is huge, but there's one other thing for today that I'm going to ask people to do is to head over to our Instagram account at Paul Farrington Show and give us a follow there. We do a lot of reels, a lot of content coming out on that platform, updates about the show, graphics for our rankings, and hopefully it's going to continue to get bigger as we move on. We're trying to build each of these platforms out one at a time so that eventually, and if anyone's listening and knows a sponsor or perhaps a place where we could call our show home, some sort of podcast network, we're welcome to discussion. So building out these individual platforms is very important. Today we're asking please go over to Instagram and
2K by the end of the week.
Yeah, 2K. That'd be a pretty huge growth, 100% growth of the channel. So yeah, it would be great if you guys could do that. Again, appreciate everyone who engages with us and listens. It's a lot of fun seeing everyone in the comment section leaving their opinions on all things NFL. So Ziggy, let's hop into this top 10 players in the Super Bowl right now. And producer Zach, feel free, it's been a while, but feel free to chime in whenever you want. If you like picks, if you have opinions.
Producer Zach never chimes in.
Yeah,
he's not a chimer.
If you see something on your phone while you're producing the show that catches your eye, perhaps.
Like the other day?
Yeah, the other day. Yeah, anything.
I have no idea, by the way. I have no idea if you guys knew that already, but I just put that in the chat, and I have no idea if you guys were.
Wait, what are you talking about right now?
Wow, that's crazy. When I said Cooper Kupp, was
Cooper Kupp. Yes.
I don't know if you guys knew that yet.
Well, Ziggy broke it live on the show.
Oh.
He beat the Blompaport.
How far?
I also broke the Australia game that was announced today.
Yes, you did, but you said it was for this year.
Yeah, well, you win some, you lose some.
You were a year off, but yeah, you did break the news. So the top 10 players, you did break it though, which is fair enough. It would be funny though if you had some Rams and Eagles fans showing up in Melbourne next year, excited for the game, and they look at their calendar and go like, "Oh, we are."
And then they curse the Paul Farrington show.
Yeah, and then that would be a good reel though for someone. Hey, this show sent us here a year
by the way, Paul, I've we're gonna pivot here. I've got one more segment to add at the end of the show we even talked about a certain fellow named Josh Jacobs and his comments today.
About Myles Garrett and Crosby?
No, he said something more than that.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen it yet. So okay, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. All right. I like a little surprise segment. That's good. It seems like both of you guys know what's going on here.
Oh, Paul, me and Ziggy actually do our research.
Yeah, you guys are tapped in.
I might not be on the show, but I'm always tapped in.
You know what's going on. Yeah. All right, I'm excited for this. I have not heard. I know he was being interviewed. I think it was Radio Row. But
it's from that 97.3 The Game interview, but it's something you didn't mention.
Was 97.3? I believe that was the station that Coon's on, right? That John Coon. John. Yeah. Is it inappropriate if like I might start referring to John Coon as John effing Coon? That could be a good shirt there.
He can't stop you.
I like John Coon.
If you're going to do that, though, you need to trademark it because he's going to try and start putting that on his shirts.
I like it, John effing Coon. I mean, that's kind of the way I viewed him for a long time. Again, he'd run in the end zone, spike the ball. We're down 30 points. I'm like, oh, John Coon is running in here, lighting us up. He was really good. I have respect for John Coon. He just pissed me off growing up as a fan, which I guess is the ultimate compliment to someone. So, John effing Coon. I believe he's with 97.3. So we'll see what happens with this Josh Jacob news that I am not aware of. Okay, getting back to it. As you can see, this show. We kind of go all over the place. It's not a very focused show.
It's Super Bowl week, and frankly, Paul, you said at the opening of the show, I hope you have fun plans for the Super Bowl. I hope everyone here has fun plans for the Super Bowl because of our fan base. Nobody's going to the Super Bowl for the Eagles-Chiefs. I mean, it's a great matchup. It's two exciting teams and so on. But I don't think we have a single Eagles or Chiefs fan subscribed to this channel. I don't think a single one is here.
There may be
a great time. I hope you enjoy the game, but like we're having fun. It's basically the off season for us.
It nearly is. There might be an Eagle or two that I've seen in the comment section, and I just don't know how. Like, I don't.
If you're here, let us know.
I don't mean disrespect the Eagles fans when I say that their fan base bothers me, but I have so many friends who are big Eagles fans. I just go like, I don't know. I like all these people, but the fan base as a whole, I speak so negatively about, and I do love my friends who are Eagles fans. It's just. I can't get behind it. Like I'm rooting. I don't care about Saquon and Jalen Hurts. Like it seems like they're filled with great guys, the team. But then I just see the reels, and maybe I'm overreacting to that. I just do not want the Eagles to win the Super. And maybe it's a like Jersey, New York versus Philly kind of a thing. But that aside, I'm rooting for the Chiefs. So the top 10 players in this game. Again, we're going to do it the same way that we do our power rankings, where I'll list player 10, Ziggy will do 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and we left it open to interpretation. Your top 10 players in this game, okay? So I'm going to start off the list here at number 10, and I'm going to put Jalen Carter, who has been great all year, but I think that he has moments where he just takes over a game. And in particular, I think you look at the end of the Rams game in the divisional round, Matthew Stafford, how many times have we seen him get the ball late in the game, go down and win it for the Rams or the Lions, whoever he's playing for? And just when it looked like the Rams might steal one in Philly in the snow, Jalen Carter blows up the last two plays of that drive, sacking Stafford, forcing the errant throw on fourth down, sending Philly to the NFC Championship where they routed Washington. I just think he's continuing to get better and better. It's ridiculous that he fell so far and that Philly was able to go up and get him. Matt, the Bears could use a Jalen Carter if they had kept that pick. So I'm going to put Jalen Carter here as the number 10 player playing in the Super Bowl.
I like putting Carter up there, actually. And I'll tell you, when he came into the NFL, my biggest worry about him was the snap count. We saw at Georgia, I mean, he was a very, very good player, but he was limited in how many snaps he could take. That's totally changed this year. He took 830 snaps this year, which was fifth among 219 interior defensive linemen in the NFL. Like Jalen Carter, he's not an every down player because nobody who's 6'3", 315 pounds could possibly be an every down player. But he's come as close as you can. And that development in his game, he was already an impact player when he was on the field. But the more he's on the field, the more he can impact. So I've really enjoyed seeing that improvement from him. And I think you're right that he's one of the biggest players in this game. Anytime you can call game in the NFL, in the playoffs, the last time I saw an interior defensive lineman do that was Aaron Donald against the Bengals. And he did that. It is what it is. He's a great player.
Yeah, there are only so many guys who are able to completely wreck a game at any given moment, and he's one of them. So, yeah, I like him at 10 here. I don't want to put him too high, but I think that he belongs in the top 10. How about you?
At number 9, I'm going to pick a player who was good all season, but has really stepped up in the playoffs. we're sticking on defense here. I'm putting in Trent McDuffie for the Kansas City Chiefs. Trent McDuffie was already one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. He forced 9 incompletions throughout the season. He broke up a bunch of passes. He had some great interceptions. He's not necessarily the biggest number driver. He's not going to have a half a dozen or more interceptions, but he's a very, very solid corner. In this postseason, it's been almost impossible to complete a pass on him. 33% of the passes that are thrown his way, he's breaking up. He has 4 pass breakups on 12 targets, which is unbelievable. In single coverage, he's only given up 2 catches for 19 yards. And the Chiefs have faced some good offenses this postseason. This has not been a season where Trent McDuffie or a postseason where he can just coast. He's a critical part of that defense. And I think everybody forgets he really had to step up this year and show he could be the number 1 corner, full stop. And he's done a great job of it for them. He's one of the most important players on that defense.
Yeah, first team All-Pro last year, second team All-Pro this season. He's unbelievable. And a lot of people just think of the Chiefs defense as Chris Jones and a bunch of people that, make up a great defense, but they're not really sure who they are. Trent McDuffie's a name that if you're not familiar with it, and most people I'm assuming listening to this show are familiar with the name Trent McDuffie, but there'll be a lot of people who don't know who he is that will become aware of him on Super Bowl Sunday. So I like this. You have to go against AJ Brown. What is that?
They live under
rocks. Yeah. Well, when you go against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, you need a guy like Trent McDuffie back there. So I like it at number 9. That brings it to 8. All right. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting because it depends on how you define top 10. And I am thinking you have importance and impact, skill. Maybe to some degree I'll be influenced by the I don't want to say the publicity, the fame of someone, because that doesn't feel right. But at 8, I'm going to put Travis Kelce here. I think Travis Kelce belongs in the top 10. I know that he hasn't been great all season. He's had his moments. I'm almost tempted to put him higher, to be honest, because I think that Travis Kelce in this game, that's when he really steps up his game. And look at him against the Texans, right? 7 receptions, 117 yards, a touchdown. When the moment matters, Travis Kelce's going to show up. So I want him on my team in this game. And I'm going to put him here at 8. Regardless of whether people think, they're tired of him, that he's losing steam, he's still a baller.
Did you see the question he got asked at Media Day?
Yeah, I did.
When he was asked whether he loves Taylor Swift or phantom roughing the passer penalties more. At NFL Media Day, guys feel like they can say whatever they want, I guess.
That guy clearly was in. The guy had his microphone said sports as his company. It's that guy was there to... The thing about Travis Kelce, and it's been this way all season, if you look at his distribution, he's either going for like 80 plus yards and a touchdown or like 5 to 10 yards. You can see it this postseason, right? He had a great game against the Texans, 117 yards and a touchdown, 2 catches for 19 yards against the Bills. And that was not like a runaway victory. So Travis Kelce, I think you have to wonder, he's been alternating a lot. Which Kelce shows up? Is the Kelce that carved up the Texans, that was great against the Steelers, that was awesome against the Buccaneers when they really needed it in overtime? Like, he's had those big games, but the age shown when he's played the Bills, right? He has in 2 games against the Bills this year, he has 4 catches for 27 yards. So that's why I put putting Travis Kelce this high. He's shown that he can do it. If he hits his ceiling, he will be an impact player. But you also know that he's going to be the focal point of this brutal Eagles defense. So I'm not sure how much I expect from him. Well, but I will say though, Ziggy, if you're the focal point of a defense, that is a huge role. If you're putting your resources towards stopping Travis Kelce, you open things up for Xavier Worthy. You open things up for Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. Like Travis Kelce, despite having limited numbers this year compared to his normal highs, if you're the focal point of a defensive plan, you are having a pretty big impact on the game, and that's what's still going to happen. So that's why I put him in there.
No, fair enough. I don't think Chiefs fans are going to be happy if he's the focal point, they shut him down, and no one else is able to take off.
Who do you have at 7?
At number 7, I think it's pretty clear who should go in here. We're bringing in Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson, tackle for the Eagles. He's one of the few guys in the NFL that's an elite pass blocker and an elite run blocker. And you've seen how important that is for the Eagles. When Jalen Hurts gets time, anything can happen. AJ Brown is incredible. Devontae Smith is incredible. When you have great run blocking, Saquon Barkley can do what he's done this postseason. He's threatening all-time records with what he's been doing this year. But for the Eagles, it all starts up front. It all starts on the outside. And Lane Johnson has just been incredible for this team. I honestly don't know how he does it with how old he is and how long he's been at it. Like, the thought that you can be one of the best tackles in the entire NFL at 34 at a position that requires so much athleticism is sort of beyond me. But that's what he does. In some ways, I think the Philadelphia offense really starts with him and maybe another guy who could be making this list even higher. But I think if he's not getting respect, I don't know what you're doing here.
No, Lane Johnson's unbelievable, and he's been really great for a long time at a tackle, absurdly important position. I'm okay with this here. I am a little worried about what you said with all the offensive linemen that are playing, the great offensive linemen in this game. So actually at number 6, just to make sure he gets in here, I'm going to put Jalen Hurts. Now, I understand
he's not in my top 10.
I understand that Jalen Hurts, if you're going through all the great players in this game based purely on skill and their value at their position, right? He's not in the top 10. But given the importance of quarterback, that's part of my factors for top 10 players in this game. Like, Jalen Hurts is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, regardless of what people say, and he's going to play a pivotal role. Yes, that's impact. Like, that would be saying who are your top 10 X factors, but in the Super Bowl, the first time this went around, 3 rushing touchdowns, threw for 1. He was unbelievable. I'll put Jalen at 6. I don't think he belongs much higher because there's a ton of star power here, but I have to include him in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way I sit back and think, is Jalen Hurts going to be one of the 10 best players in this game? And the answer is maybe. We've seen what Jalen Hurts, when he's at his best, can do, right? He's a threat in the passing game. He's an incredible threat on the ground. A skill that doesn't show up in the stat sheets that's really, really important for this Eagles offense is just how good he is on 3rd and 4th and short. There's no team in the history of football better at converting 3rd and 4th and 1s, and the confidence to be able to do that influences an offense in all sorts of ways, the kinds of plays you can call, like all of that. There's just so much talent in this game that it's hard for me to justify putting Jalen Hurts this high. But as you say, everything in this offense starts with him, and he does a great job. I understand why.
I don't know if I'd say everything.
No, when you're the Eagles and you're planning things, I know that like Saquon Barkley is a key player, is going to show up higher in this list. I know the offensive line is important. The kinds of things you can do are defined by the fact that you've got a quarterback that can consistently convert in short yardage situations.
I think he's going to have a big game.
It's difficult to overstate how much that matters. It means you can give the ball to Saquon whenever you want. It means you can throw a deep pass whenever you want. Like, the fact that they feel so comfortable running on 2nd and long is because if they get close, Jalen Hurts is going to take care of business.
I think Jalen Hurts is one of those guys who just rises in the big moments. Now, I know that he got benched for Tua in the national championship game back in college, but remember the following year when he came in for Tua and won the SEC championship game, that Super Bowl performance I talked about. I think he's a guy who, when the moment matters, now look, he's playing against the very best maybe ever player who rises to the occasion when the moment matters. But I think you're going to get a really strong game out of Jalen Hurts, and that makes the Eagles really difficult to beat. Like, if Jack were sitting here and was hearing me say this, he'd say, how can you possibly not be on the Eagles? But when he's rolling and you got AJ Brown, Devontae,
Here, I got you.
Saquon.
You. How could you not be on the Eagles?
Yeah, there it is. So
they're going to win by 1 million.
All right, now top 5, Ziggy. Kick us off in the top 5.
Number 5, this is a player who's near and dear to my heart. He's had a great season. I think, again, you could justify putting him higher. We're putting in Creed Humphrey here.
I'm really happy with that pick, actually.
Look, I know that center is not the most prestigious position in the NFL. I get it. But this guy has been an all-time great center. He's probably the best run blocking center in the NFL. He's certainly the best pass blocking center in the NFL. He gave up 7 pressures all season and not a single one in the playoffs. Like, Patrick Mahomes, I know he's an incredible player, but we saw it a few years ago when the Chiefs played Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. It does not matter how good you are if your center can't snap the ball and if you're getting rushed down every single play. Even Patrick Mahomes can't overcome that. Creed Humphrey has, I think, really been the key player in turning that Chiefs offensive line. I know they were hurt a bunch that year, but from like a decent offensive line to one of the strongest units in the NFL. And the whole offense, every single play starts with what Creed Humphrey is able to do back there.
It starts with him snapping the ball.
Look, say what you will, right? We've seen how hard it can be when your center, Paul, we're Vikings fans. We know when your center can't snap the ball or gets blown up every play. There's nothing you can do.
Yep.
That just doesn't happen.
And talk about this game too. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the other side. Yeah, like the interior Chiefs offensive line, which is it's great now, especially compared to what it was in that Bucs Super Bowl. Creed Humphrey, I always viewed him as a little bit of a personal victory for myself, because if you go, and I don't know if you could even find this anymore, but when he was drafted by the Chiefs in the second round out of Oklahoma, I did a show, and it might have even been a solo show for me at Notre Dame, where was it? I believe it was at what year was he drafted? 2021. So it was senior year. I did a show and I said, "There's a beast on the Chiefs right now that you're going to be introduced to Creed Humphrey. Like he is going to be an unbelievable center." I don't know what I was going off of. I think I read one article saying he like was impressive in rookie camp or something. I like looked into it more and went, this dude's a stud. But he's been nothing short of exceptional since being in the league. I'm very happy you put him at 5. I'm really hoping now that you don't put any more linemen in this top 4, because I think the top 4 is pretty crystal clear here. From here on out, I know that they're a great lineman. I'm gonna be pissed off though if you put one of them in there. So at 4, I'm putting AJ Brown, and I just think he's such a stud. From the moment he's been in Philly, they've been 2 Super Bowls in 3 years with him. Other than really the meltdown last season, they've been unstoppable. Do you know this season with AJ Brown in the lineup? Do you know what the Eagles' record is, Ziggy? Have you seen this?
They're undefeated, right?
Close. 15-1. 15-1 with AJ Brown. The only loss is when Jalen Hurts left the game against the Commanders in Washington. They probably win that game if Jalen Hurts plays. He's just a stud. And he is a high impact player who's almost impossible to defend. The big body, the strength, everything. I don't want to get too into this, and people are going to start making reels about me going off on AJ Brown, but I think he's an unbelievable player that I want on my team in this game. He's number 4.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown is, I've said it for a while on this show. I know it's unpopular, and this postseason has started to change my mind. I said all year he was the most important player on this Eagles offense. I no longer think that's quite true. Saquon has just been so incredible, but AJ Brown is a key player. And as you said, the numbers about the wins and losses show it. Watching the tape shows it. Anybody who watches this guy plays knows he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and he's a critical part of what the Eagles are able to do. So yeah, it's a no-brainer that he's in the top 4 for me, though I also had him at 4.
Okay, who do you have at 3?
At number 3, I'm afraid there's a lineman. Chris Jones.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know.
Real
quick, before you go, before the show, Ziggy and I were talking. I'm actually genuinely happy you did that. Before the show, Ziggy and I were talking about how he has a few more offensive linemen in his top 10 than I do. And when you have Joe Thuney, you have Jordan Mailata, there are so many good offensive linemen. Ziggy and I were talking about like how it'd be a funny bit if he just kept putting O linemen. But then when we got to this top 3, I was like, you got to put, like, if you leave Chris Jones out.
I'm disappointed that this means Mailata is going to get left off the list, but so be it. It is what it is. Look, Chris Jones is the best pass rusher in the interior offense and the interior defensive line in the NFL. It's not remotely close. And the thing about Chris Jones that's so scary is he's the best in the regular season, and then he's much better in the playoffs. And that's happened again this year. He had 74 pressures during the regular season, which was incredible. He's had 11 this postseason. Obviously, he's put up a sack. He gets to the quarterback. Like, Chris Jones is just a game-changing player.
Yep.
At an important position. And as good as Jalen Carter is, I know Jalen Carter is a very good player. He belongs in this top 10. Chris Jones is on another planet with how good he is. He deserves all the money the Chiefs are paying him and more. I know not Creed Humphrey. I know that Trent McDuffie is a very good player, but when you're talking about talent, it really is Chris Jones and then everybody else. I can't overstate how important this guy is to the Chiefs offense or defense. It's unbelievable.
Ziggy's just thinking offense all the time, isn't he?
Ziggy?
Look, man, he's so important at stopping offenses for them. It feels like Chris Jones is on the offense because every single play is in the backfield.
3 straight first team all pros. Think about the lobbying the Chiefs did, right, to get him back this offseason.
Let's not forget those 3 first team all pros. It would be more if he didn't have to compete with Aaron Donald, the single best player to position in the history of football.
Yeah, I kind of view him as the forgotten member of the dynasty here. Everyone talks about Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce getting their 4th Super Bowl ring, but Chris Jones has been there the whole time. He's like the 4th Beatle, honestly. Like, and he's probably more important to the Chiefs dynasty than Ringo was to the Beatles. Like, to be completely honest, this guy is so good and so vital to this team. The anchor of the defense that is, now just as good as the Chiefs offense. It's almost a switch here.
Not just as good, it's better.
Better. Yeah. It's been a switch in the dynasty from an offensive led team to defense now. And Chris Jones is the leader of that group. He's crazy good. I'm serious. He's like the 4th Beatle. All right. At 2, I think this is a pretty easy 2-1 here. Saquon goes at 2. Everyone knows 2,000-yard season, 30 rushing yards away from breaking Terrell Davis's single season record. Set in 1998, 2,476 rushing yards in a season. 3,000 yards collectively in total scrimmage yards, rushing and receiving yards. He's 240 yards away from being the first player to ever do that. Everyone knows Saquon's been unbelievable. He goes at 2, fairly.
Yeah, I'll own it, right? During this postseason preview, I said that you can't count on a running back to carry you to the Super Bowl. The Eagles have done exactly that. In every single game, it has been Saquon that's come up with the big plays. And it's been a very long time since we've seen a running back able to do that. Because of Saquon, it's not just the numbers. It's not just how many rushing yards it is. And I know there's a lot. It's the fact that on any given play, even the first play of the game, Saquon can just go for 80 yards and a touchdown. Any single time he gets the ball, he is a threat, and that changes everything. It's hard to think of another running back in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs is the only one, I think, who's as dangerous the second they get the ball. And Saquon has to do it a whole lot more than Gibbs does.
Derrick Henry's got to be mentioned in there, but look, I'll tell you, growing up as a Vikings fan, I've said this so many times, he's the closest thing to Adrian Peterson that I've seen since Adrian was in the league. And it sucks that we never had a quarterback that we could go on these Super Bowl runs with. When you have someone like Adrian Peterson or Saquon, you should be able to dominate offensively, right? Like, because it's unbelievable to watch a guy just take a handoff and go 80 yards to the house. I mean, that puts so much pressure on a defense. But yeah, I would compare Saquon to Adrian Peterson in that they are just so explosive game changers from the moment they have the ball anywhere on the field. He has 442 yards and 5 touchdowns in 3 postseason games. And 3 of them are for over 60 yards, the touchdowns. Like, he's a beast. He's unbelievable. The Giants could use a player like that.
The Giants have bigger needs.
All right, and 1.
Look, here's the fact. Patrick Mahomes has been the worst quarterback in the NFL when under pressure. Who stops quarterbacks from going under pressure? Jordan Mailata stops quarterbacks from going under pressure. No, I want to put him up here. I regret the Lane Johnson pick, actually, because I think Mailata is the better player. But
it's close. That's close.
What are you supposed to do? Anytime you start doubting Patrick Mahomes, he will turn in a performance that reminds you he's one of the best players to ever play the game. This is maybe the worst season of his career. And Patrick Mahomes is still clearly the best quarterback in the NFL. When it's time for big plays, you can always count on Patrick Mahomes. When you need to avoid turnovers, you can count on Patrick Mahomes. When you need a guy to avoid sacks, you can count on Patrick Mahomes. He's excellent at avoiding sacks. When you can keep a clean pocket around him, he's maybe the best thrower of the ball deep we've ever seen. Like, there's just so much you can say about this guy. And I know people tire of hearing it. You get tired of hearing it from announcers. You get tired of hearing it from podcasts. People say all sorts of things about it, and I get it. I'm kind of tired of hearing about him too. He's a little whiny baby sometimes. I get it. But Patrick Mahomes gets to do all of that because he is the greatest quarterback talent in the NFL right now. He's one of the greatest talents we've ever seen. And if you need a quarterback to win a game for you, he's the guy. Everybody agrees he's the guy. What more can you say?
Well, there's the stat that Trey Wingo said, right? And since 2001, there's been 125 drives where a team has gotten the ball down 7 points or less with a minute left in the fourth quarter or under a minute to play. And of those 125 drives, 40% of the time, the offense got the touchdown or the field goal to either tie the game or go to overtime or win it. Tom Brady, 5 for 11 in those opportunities, 46%. Drew Brees, 3 for 6, 50%. Patrick Mahomes, 7 for 7. He's never failed when trailing in the fourth quarter by 7 or less, getting the ball with under a minute.
Well, that's a stupid, misleading stat.
Why?
Because overtime against the Bengals, he throws an interception and loses the game. It doesn't count because it's overtime and not the fourth quarter. Really?
It's still look. It's still an unbelievable stat that when he needs to put points on the board in those situations, he does it. I know I know the overtime fell apart.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like 100%. And it wasn't for Brady and Brees is deeply misleading.
I guess you could say the end result of the game. Now I'm curious to see how many of those 125 drives the team lost, like tied the game, then lost in overtime too. Because then you get into a different stat here. But did you know he's the winningest quarterback ever with at least 100 starts?
Yeah, no, I don't say that because I think Patrick Mahomes is a bad player. He's unbelievable. It's just, I don't know. You don't need stats like that. Here's what you need. Watch the game. Patrick Mahomes is the best in the NFL by far.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing too. I don't think if you just watch the whole like regular season, right? You see Josh Allen and Lamar do crazy things where I think they're actually really close to Mahomes. They had better years than Mahomes in the regular season. The difference is he's in the playoffs able to just elevate to another level where I'm not going to lose. I'm just not going to lose. And you see even you see Josh and Lamar, like they have some big mistakes in these games. And even when Mahomes has them, if he gets the ball again, and it doesn't matter how much time's on the clock, he's going to make sure that his team wins. And that's what's amazing about it, is that I don't think that if you talk about Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, I don't think Mahomes is like head and shoulders more talented than these dudes. I don't even know if I'd say he's more talented straight up.
He's just better.
He's just
like, what am I supposed to say?
When it matters, he's the best. And that makes you better.
This is the thing, is it's not as if Patrick Mahomes suddenly becomes way better when it matters. He's just always incredible.
Yeah, he's just amazing. So yeah, he has to be one.
He's not Eli Manning, right? He's not out there throwing 500, and then when it comes time for a Super Bowl run, he steps up. I don't know. It's again, I get why fans are tired of him. I'm tired of him, but like,
I'm not. I love Patrick Mahomes.
This Super Bowl, set aside the fact that you're tired of him. Just watch the greatness. What else are you supposed to do?
No, I'm not tired of him at all. I love Patrick Mahomes because every single time I have to watch these NFC teams beat up on the Vikings, here comes Superman in to clean up the mess. It's awesome. I love seeing him beat the 49ers. I love seeing him beat the Eagles. The only team I don't want to win this year is the Eagles. Of course, they roll through. Here comes Patrick. Take care of business. Same thing with Brady. Love seeing Brady beat up on the teams that I don't like in the NFC because my team can't do it. So I'm all for it. I'll see the Chiefs win forever if the Vikings can't get there. But such is life as a Vikings fan, rooting for other teams. What was the worst decision, Ziggy? What was the worst decision? The Giants letting Saquon Barkley go to the Eagles, go to their rival, have a historic season, and lead them to a Super Bowl appearance, or the Lakers trading Luka Doncic in the prime of his career for soon-to-be 32-year-old Anthony Davis?
It's obviously the Mavs trade. Look, because here's the thing is, for that Giants team, I get that you want to keep Saquon around, but he would not have made much of a difference. Like, we've seen Saquon Barkley on bad Giants teams. He's put together great numbers, but like, it hasn't made a difference because they have so many needs that like Saquon's not the difference maker. Indeed, it's impossible to be a difference maker on that Giants team, right? You put up 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns and they still can't win any games. But with the Eagles, Saquon Barkley gets a chance to be a difference maker because they don't let him down on the offensive line, let him down with the quarterback, and let him down on defense. So, like, how many more games do the Giants win if they keep Saquon this year? Maybe 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, but most. The humiliation of watching him go to your biggest rival when your owner said, "I just can't stomach him going to the Eagles." It's just been very embarrassing for the Giants.
Well, it's embarrassing. Here's what's more embarrassing. The Mavericks have to refund all of their season ticket holders because they're all canceling because they just traded away the future of the franchise.
No, I agree with you. I agree. it's just some two baffling decisions.
We are
Also, is when Saquon Barkley left the Giants, I didn't have any of my students come into my office crying. I had a student come into my office crying over Luka Doncic.
I don't know what you're supposed to say.
There was nothing for me to say.
Yeah, it's
right?
not getting better.
Did he try to use it to get out of a test?
No,
Oh,
she was just crushed.
She.
I mean, I'd be crushed.
Girls can
you?
like sports, Zach.
Girls like sports? I didn't know that.
Zach's like, where? Sign me up.
No, we're not talking about my student this way. We're wrapping this segment.
Zach's transferring to Virginia.
No, he's not.
All right.
Well, am I not smart enough for that, Ziggy?
Let's
Probably not.
Whoa.
Boom, shots fired.
Whoa.
let's get into the prop bets here. This will be fun. So Super Bowl prop bets. I just went around and I looked at different prop bet sheets from, FanDuel has one. There's some that fans make online, and I just took a bunch of them, and we could kind of do this rapid fire. And you can follow along at home and just shout it out in the car if you're listening, or what you think you would do for the Super Bowl prop bets. So you guys ready? Producer Zach, feel free to join in on this as well if you.
No, not feel free. Producer Zach's joining in on this. He's great at this kind of stuff.
Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. Will the national anthem be over 120.5 seconds? John Batiste is singing.
So 2 minutes.
Or is playing? I think he's just playing it, right? On like piano or something.
Is he playing it? If he's
I think so.
No, someone's going to be singing the national anthem.
I don't know.
Surely.
I thought that he said I'm going to make an arrangement, and I went to listen to some of his music, and it was all just instrumental. I know he sings, but his popular stuff, from my knowledge, is instrumental, which makes it seem like the over, right?
I'm hitting the over. Easy.
All right, I'm going over to. This dude's pretty talented. He's from New Orleans. He's won 5 Grammys, like Song of the Year, Album of the Year in 2022.
No, I don't think he's going to sing it, but someone's going to sing it.
Composed the music for Soul, the Disney and Pixar movie. Like this dude's. I'd never heard of him, but he's unbelievable. Coin toss, heads or tails?
Oh,
Tails never fails.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Tails as well. Who will win the kick of destiny, Eli or Peyton?
Oh, Peyton.
Eli. Peyton's going to be too worried about his neck.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going Eli too. In Super Bowl moments, big moments, Eli's the better Manning in these situations. Who scores first, the Eagles or the Chiefs?
I'm going the Eagles.
I'm with you. I think Philly scores first. I think it's going to be a great game. Eagles score first. Chiefs will score last. Zach, producer Zach.
I think I'm going to go.
This is where we get into your territory.
I know. I think I like the Chiefs.
The Chiefs here? Okay, and here's an interesting one now. The jersey number of the player to score, over under the number 11.5. So you got Saquon at 26, Kareem Hunt 29, Kelce 87, under 11.5, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Worthy, Pacheco, Juju Hopkins.
So you
also get the quarterback. You get Jalen Hurts under.
Jalen Hurts right? is one.
Oh, so I'm taking
Mahomes is 15 though.
I'm taking the under. Why? Mahomes ain't scoring. He ain't rushing for a touchdown.
So you're taking.
There's 2 guys who are going to score. It's either going to be Saquon Barkley or Travis Kelce.
Oh, I see. I think it's the Eagles. I'm going to go under, and I'm going to think it's either Smith, Hurts, or I'm just basically betting against Barkley.
Paul, there's a 90% chance the over hits.
You guys are insane.
Why? What do you mean?
Because 1 to 11 versus 12 to 99.
And then stop it.
What?
I think it's gonna be Hurts on the ground or Hurts throwing. Who will lead at the end of the first half?
Crazy that you guys don't think Hopkins isn't going to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
I don't think he's gonna score first.
I didn't say that.
I think the Eagles are scoring first.
He's gonna score first.
Oh, that's right. You guys want the Eagles first.
Yeah. You think I also don't think Hopkins will score.
I see Hopkins scoring and being.
But you're the man. I mean, you're the guy who does these things.
Okay, folks. Anytime Tutty producer Zach has spoken.
Yeah, no.
Get out there. Place your bets with Unnamed Sportsbook. Paul, you said we're open to sponsorships.
Yeah. Some sportsbook, come find us.
No sportsbook is going to sponsor us because producer Zach always hits.
That's true.
Who will lead at the end of the first half? The Eagles or the Chiefs?
Eagles Chiefs second half comeback is the story I see.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be in line with the script for me as well. All right, will Kendrick Lamar play over or under 10.5 songs, Ziggy?
That's a good question.
At least 10 seconds.
I'm
At
feeling
least 10
pretty
seconds.
firm under there.
I feel so too. What, Super Bowls are normally like 6 or 7 songs, right? Not
10's a lot of
Well,
songs.
so here's the question, right? Like, I want to know how they individuate a song. Because on the other hand, I could see Kendrick bringing out a lot of guests and like doing for guest verses, right? So say he brings
10
out J
seconds.
Rock
10
for like the
seconds.
Money Trees verse. That's going to count as a unique song, right?
sure. You could switch.
So I think that's the only way the over could hit. But I think we're going to see like more complicated choreography and artistic messaging than number of songs. So I'm hitting the under.
Very impressive, Ziggy. Very sophisticated. I'm going to go with the under as well. Here we go. Commercials. A few commercial questions. Will Mr. J. Pringle touch his mustache during the Pringles commercial? I saw that on Bet Online.
What?
No, but don't place a bet in that in your sports book. They're not going to let it happen.
Will
But
J. Pringle touch his mustache, Ziggy?
No.
No.
I don't think he will either. Although, if you have a mustache like that, like I've grown out
Hold on,
facial
what are
hair.
the odds on this? I want to know what the odds are.
I think it was minus 110 each way. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. But whenever I've grown out facial hair, like there is this irresistible urge to just do that. A little pet. So I can see I can see them having Jay Pringle. He's generally though shown pretty good restraint. That was like, do you remember our friend Mike Rotundo? I was in the car with my brother. This is back in high school. We were like going to a pep rally or something. We're talking about Family Guy and just how funny it is. And Mike goes, like, I just think it's so impressive how Peter's able to keep a straight face after he says the things he says. And me and my brother are like, well, he's a cartoon. He could do whatever the hell he wants. And that was just hysterical from Mike. The first automobile brand in a commercial. We have Hyundai at plus 175, Kia plus 300, Porsche 300, Audi plus 350, or Toyota plus 400.
Porsche's running ads?
I see Porsche's on the plus 300.
First of all, it's Porsche. Second of all, I'm going Hyundai.
Hyundai? So you're going with the favorite?
Wait, what was
Yeah.
What was it again?
First automobile brand in a commercial.
First automobile. No, it's Toyota.
Toyota, you think? I'm going to go... I think it's Hyundai or Audi. I'm going to go Audi. I'm going to go Audi at plus 350.
Isn't Toyota like the sponsor of the NFL?
Is it? It might be.
I don't think so.
I thought it was one of the sponsors of the NFL.
Oh, it is definitely one. I'm still going Audi. I don't care. I don't care about you and your numbers. It sounds like Jack, right? Over or under 3.5 ads featuring dogs?
Over.
I feel confident.
It's a dog season.
It is. Well, don't they have the...
Hold on, what does featuring mean? They just mean a dog shows up in the ad?
I think the dog is a prominent character in the ad.
What? I don't know what that means.
Like when the dog in the Budweiser commercials, when the dog like runs into the Clydesdale horse, like I'd say the dog is a prominent character there.
Puppy
Ooh,
monkey.
that
I'm
actually
watching
makes
a lot
me
of
think,
Mad Men, so I should know this. But
that makes me think maybe under.
I'm hitting the over. I think it's dog season.
No, it's definitely under.
Yeah, you know what? I want to see dogs, so I'm gonna go over. Last one for commercials. Which Anheuser-Busch commercial will air first? Bud Light's the favorite, minus 175. Michelob Ultra, plus 275. Budweiser, also at 275. Michelob Pure Gold at plus 400. That can't be. I saw the teaser of the Michelob Ultra commercial with pickleball, and that was really funny. I like that.
It's definitely a Bud Light.
It's got to be Bud Light, right?
Hold on. There's one thing. Do we know in that Michelob Ultra is Messi in it?
No, this is the one with who plays Green
Then
Goblin?
Bud Light. Oh, it's Willem Dafoe, right?
Willem Dafoe. Yeah. Willem Dafoe.
Okay, I was gonna say if Messi's in it, I'd go Michelob Ultra, but since he's not, I'm going Bud Light.
I think
Not
Budweiser's
sponsored, by the way.
Budweiser is a pure third, fourth quarter commercial. Absolutely. When you have the horses come out, it'll be between Michelob and Bud Light, and I'm gonna go Bud Light. Okay,
Those are the only two sane choices.
we have 7 questions left here. Who throws for more
Is
yards?
this the worst segment we've ever done?
Well, I'm enjoying this. I think it's fun. Who throws for more yards, Mahomes or Hurts?
Mahomes, easy.
It's not necessarily easy, but I will also go Mahomes. Will the total number of points be odd or even?
Odd.
Got you thinking now. I'm also going odd.
Yeah. I would take odd.
38-35 last time. Got the odd number. Total touchdown scored. Over, under 5.5.
Under.
Really?
Wait, 5.5.
5.5. I'm going
This
over.
is going to be a battle of the defenses, man.
I think that it'll be like 3 going into the fourth quarter, and then you're gonna get some fireworks.
No, I'm taking over.
Total number of players to throw a pass. This is always a fun one. Over, under 2.5. Will there be any trickery?
Oh, definitely 2. Over. Sorry.
Oh, you're going over?
Under.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be. Oh man, I can see Andy Reid dialing something
What
up.
would this line have been if Dan Campbell and the Lions had made this game?
It would have been the same, but it would have been heavy. Like there would have been bad odds if you bet the over. 100%. If you had Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell there. But Andy Reid, I could see. You know what though? When you have Patrick Mahomes, that's the difference. You don't take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. So I'm gonna go under 2. Last 2. What color Gatorade will be dumped on the winning coach?
I never know what to do with these.
It's going to be yellow. No, it's going to be blue. Sorry. Blue. Blue.
Blue's a really popular one normally. I'm gonna go orange.
Can you give me the lines just on a couple of the colors? Like I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
I don't have the lines in front of
It's
me.
usually purple.
What are the most popular colors
It's usually
producers have? Because I know I
blue.
can count on you.
It's usually purple, blue, yellow, and orange, I think. And I think
I'm
I
feeling
love
orange.
red. I
think
love
they
red.
sprinkle red in there.
Red's probably my favorite Gatorade, but you never see red.
Yeah, it's because it's stained.
Stains, yeah, you don't want the stain, right?
I'm feeling orange.
I'm going orange too. And then last but not least, who will win Super Bowl MVP?
Saquon. If they win.
Here's the thing. I could see a couple players winning it for the Chiefs. I can only see one player winning it for the Eagles. Give me Saquon.
Come on, you don't think that Jalen Hurts could win Super Bowl MVP?
No.
I'm going. I mean, it's boring, but I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. So this will go to our Super Bowl prediction. Then I'm assuming we all are picking the MVP to be from the winning team. I have the Chiefs winning.
I have the Chiefs winning. I think there's a lot of players that can win it on the Chiefs. I think you got the Travis Kelce narrative. I think you'll have the Chris Jones narrative. You'll have the Creed Humphreys narrative.
The Creed Humphrey narrative for MVP. The Creed Humphrey Super Bowl MVP narrative.
You never know, Paul. Of the Eagles, there's only one guy who's winning it if they win. That's going to be Saquon having a monster performance. You know, these media types, they get sappy. They're tired of quarterbacks winning it. Of the Chiefs, like, there's other guys you can give it to. Like, Patrick Mahomes is a guy. But with the Eagles, there's only one non-quarterback you could ever justify giving it to.
No. You have changed your tune there. You a second ago said not Jalen Hurts, and now you're saying non-quarterback.
Yeah, well, no. So I think they don't want to give it to Jalen Hurts because they know that, like, Hurts is not, they're not a fan of Hurts. Mahomes, like, he is the media star power, so that's fighting against the we don't want to give it to a quarterback thing. For the Eagles, nobody wants to give it to Jalen Hurts. There's only one guy they want to give it to, and that's Saquon. So give it to him. But I think the Chiefs are going to win.
All right. We got in an argument today, me and Jack, with our old co-host, Andrew, in the group chat today. Jack's going on and on about the Eagles and how they're going to win the game. And that, you know, I've never had this feeling about a team that Mahomes was favored against since the Bucs. And we saw what happened there. And I was like, bullshit, Jack. Like, I know that you said the same thing about the Niners. I looked in our text history, and it's from Ziggy in January last year. How are the Chiefs dogs again? I write, I love KC. And Jack goes, quote, I love Niners. We continue that conversation. I think the Niners are better than the Chiefs. Last time I had this strong a lean against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl was against the Bucs, and I was right. I'm loving San Francisco. And I just texted him. I was like, this is ridiculous here. Like, you're just pulling the exact same card from last year.
Jack was very clear. He wanted us to make it extremely, extremely clear that he's all in on the Eagles. To make it that way you will.
But he's an eagle sound like you would eat, Ziggy. Give us an eagle sound.
That's not bad as all things go. Yeah, no, Jack picking the Eagles is just I love this. I've not had this feeling against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl since the Bucs, and I was right. And I was like, you said almost the exact same text actually, which I'm not sure if he did as a gag, but yeah, Andrew came in and was just like, you don't get it, bro. Mahomes 15-0 in a dome. Vic Fangio 0-8 against Mahomes, dropping all the stats, and Jack's like, I don't care. I've never had this feeling. I was like, this guy.
You gotta love Jack.
Yeah, he's an enigma. He's an enigma. Yeah, I love
we got some other stories to cover. Paul.
We got one more. Maybe two. Yeah. So as far as JJ McCarthy goes, he went on the Rich Eisen show, And he said this quote, which a lot of people are putting in headlines this morning, and I'm not. It's stupid. I'm actually totally not into it at all. All I could ask for is a fair opportunity. That's the one thing I feel like everybody's given, and it's fundamental. When money gets involved, things get complicated, reps get skewed, and there's different things that come into the whole political world that everyone talks about. I really just have to focus on controlling what I can control. My feelings don't matter. I'm not getting any grace. There's no sympathy. This is the big leagues. So I'm fine with JJ saying that. I think that's the right thing to say. I just have no idea why it's a story that he goes, all I want is a fair opportunity. I guess it's because there's nothing else going on right now.
Like, what do you want him to come out and say? Here, I want to be handed the job.
Yeah, like I just.
Or do you want him to come out and say, I don't care if they give me a chance?
Yeah, I don't think JJ saying this is a news story. I think the more newsworthy topics is him saying, I'm making great progress on my knee. It's in good shape here. If you want to talk about that, that's fine. As we've continued to move through this cycle of whether it's going to be Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, I'm feeling very confident right now that JJ McCarthy is going to be the Vikings starting quarterback in 2025. I think that's where this seems to be trending right now. I think Darnold's going to get an offer that's going to be close to that $40 million, even if it's 35. I know a lot of people are saying that smart organizations don't let these kind of quarterbacks who have great years walk right out the building. You know what? I think the Vikings, they invested their future in they've said JJ McCarthy is the future, and part of building up this team is the appeal is building around a young quarterback, right? And not having that massive contract. You already have Justin Jefferson making $35 million. I feel good right now that tumultuous end for Darnold was enough for them to say, and whether or not this is fair, right? It might not be fair to judge Sam just on 2 games, but that sort of tumultuous end makes me think that the organization is going to try and continue to build this team up, and that they believe in JJ McCarthy to take them to another level. And that's where I'm coming down right now. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I know it's not a perfect analogy because we haven't really seen a lot of situations like this, but the thing that comes to my mind, honestly, is the 49ers letting Jimmy G walk. Now, I know at that point you'd seen what Brock Purdy could do, but Jimmy G had been great for the 49ers. He'd put together some really good seasons for them. He'd done much more for them than Sam Darnold has done for us, frankly. Jimmy G took him to a Super Bowl. He put together multiple high-level seasons. Even like the 2022 year when they let him walk was tough. And people were wondering, like, yeah, you've got your young new quarterback. He looked good in a few games, but do you really want to let him leave? Boy, was that the right call, right? He fell apart on the Raiders. The Rams, he goes in as a backup and doesn't look particularly good there. I mean, he was fine against the Seahawks this year, I guess. But like, there were questions that people were asking, right? Is Jimmy Garoppolo? I went back and looked at it. Sports Illustrated, there were articles. Is Brock Purdy really better than Jimmy Garoppolo? And indeed, like, people were saying, look, Jimmy Garoppolo knows the position. He's more experienced. I think you've got to give JJ McCarthy the chance to play. Sam Darnold, I just didn't see enough this season to think that he's really the guy for the future. And if you can keep him in the building, great. Let him play. But I think there's going to be some team that's willing to pay more than the Vikings do.
Well, wait. What do you mean if you can keep him in the building, let him play?
If Sam Darnold is willing to like take a bridge contract, let him play for half the year. Let JJ McCarthy recover from the knee injury, get back up to speed, and play him when he's ready. You don't need JJ McCarthy out there day one. All
right. Hold on a second. Just walk me through this quickly. When you're saying a bridge contract, does this mean like
you get Sam Darnold for like 1 year, $20 million?
Well, he's not signing that. Why would Sam ever do that?
I just said I don't think he's going to, because I think some other team's going to offer him more.
Okay. Well, what about the whole franchise tagging Darnold and then tag and trade, or keeping him for the $40 million and letting him go for 1 year against JJ and see if he can do it again? Are you on board with that at all?
I think the tag and trade is totally unrealistic. I don't think any team's really all that excited to like add Sam Darnold at like 35 or 40 million for a year and then still have to deal with the issue of extending him.
Well, that's the tricky thing about this Darnold situation, is that I can't see any team paying him $40 million. Like, I just can't. He had a great season. It was an amazing story. But given the situation he had in Minnesota, and the ending, right? So the situation of having the weapons in O'Connell and then the ending that he had, I can't see anyone going, I'm comfortable giving him $120 million over 3 years.
Yeah, and if you let Darnold walk, you're going to. I don't know I don't think the Vikings are going to be huge free agency players. I think this is going to be much more of a year of re-signing our own guys. You probably get a third or fourth round compensatory pick back, depending on how the formula shakes out. So yeah, I think Darnold's going to leave. I think that's okay. I'd much rather bring in a guy like Jimmy G who can maybe start a few games or just be a helpful backup.
I think JJ's going to start week 1.
I don't think you want to be in a position like the Bears were of Caleb Williams this year, where you absolutely need JJ McCarthy to start week 1 because there's no other option.
Wouldn't it be Daniel Jones?
We don't know if the Vikings are going to keep Daniel Jones. If you think Daniel Jones is okay and you're fine starting him for half a season, sure.
So wait,
would you tag
Darnold and then just keep him for this season and let him battle out with JJ? And if JJ wins, he wins the job, and you let Darnold go after this year.
I don't think you should pay $40 million if you only want to keep Sam Darnold around for 1 year. I think if anything, you could argue that transition tagging him makes a lot of sense. That would be, I think, a more likely situation than the franchise tag.
I thought I read somewhere that was the worst possible thing we could do.
I don't see why. The transition tag is the payment would be substantially lower than the franchise tag. And if a team offers him a contract, we get a chance to match it.
Sure.
So you get a chance to see Darnold's market basically risk-free. And look, if there's a team willing to hand Darnold a big contract, you let him walk. The Vikings should not be matching a big contract for Sam Darnold, period.
Yeah, this is where it's going to come down to. It takes some guts to let someone walk out of the building who just had the year Sam Darnold had. But if you truly believe in JJ McCarthy, you're going to take that shot, right? You're going to give him that opportunity to live up to the expectations that you gave him.
I just don't want the quarterback coming off of knee surgery who's never started a game in the NFL to be told you have to start week 1 no matter what, whether you feel ready or not. Because look, Paul, you said it a few weeks ago. Everybody wants to be the Packers until they have a chance to be the Packers.
Yep.
You've got your quarterback coming off of knee surgery. Yeah, he's ahead of schedule. Yeah, he's practicing. But why you should force him to go out there and play? I think the Vikings should feel comfortable making that determination objectively. And the only way you can do that is to have an acceptable option that you can play without embarrassing your franchise.
I think it's going to be Daniel Jones then, because I don't think they're going to bring Sam back.
Look, if you can get Daniel Jones on a decent deal and they like him, I'm fine with that too.
Do you think that letting go of how much better do you think Darnold was than Kirk was when he got injured against the Packers last year? Now, I understand that he tore his Achilles and that you were taking in an older quarterback with a major injury, but how much better, if at all, do you think Sam was this season than Kirk was in the middle of the run we were having?
Kirk was better last season. I think it's marginal. I think Sam Darnold was very, very good. But Kirk was better. Kirk just didn't take those sacks that Darnold took.
Well. Kirk had some major.
Kirk took a lot of sacks. Darnold led the NFL just about. If it weren't for Caleb Williams, just about setting a record.
Sam took a lot of sacks. I mean, Kirk had some disastrous strip sacks that were just, you could see it coming a mile away. It's like someone coming around the corner.
Look, I'm not saying Kirk was great. I'm saying Darnold was about the worst.
Well, they were both very good quarterbacks the last 2 years. But
yeah, I'm not saying Darnold was a bum.
No,
I think he was a good
I'm
play.
just
That's
saying
why there's this conversation at all.
Yeah, I'm saying you just made this decision with Kirk to go out into the unknown and hope it works out with McCarthy. I think it's the same thing with Darnold. You'll probably be decent if he comes back, but we're in this business to win Super Bowls. And I don't want to say Sam Darnold can't do it, but I think there's a better chance that JJ might work out. And that's probably what the Vikings are thinking. So we'll get into more things a little bit real quickly, very, very quickly here before you guys give me this news story that I'm unaware of. Myles Garrett to Minnesota is not happening. That's not happening for any Vikings fans who are
Who
curious.
thought it was?
I've just seen I saw people pondering us trading JJ McCarthy and some picks for Garrett. And I'm like, I'd love to have Myles Garrett on the team, but we're loaded at the edge and it's not happening. The other one that I want to pay attention to, and I know that it's not happening, I would be all for Matthew Stafford joining the Vikings. I'll just say that. I know the Rams came out and said it's either with the Rams or no one, but if the situation worked out well, I would 100% be interested in 37-year-old Matthew Stafford joining up. Happy birthday, Matthew Stafford, by the way, from the Minnesota Vikings community. Happy birthday. He turns 37 tomorrow. He's still got it. And I would love to see for 1 year. Stafford, Jefferson, Addison. I mean, I already have thoughts of the Super Bowl trophy being lifted.
He could beat up the Lions.
Beat up the Lions. Yeah, that would be great. A little revenge. Oh, I'd love for that to happen, but it doesn't seem likely. But someone make it happen. Someone find
likely,
a way.
But there are rumors about it.
I'm
it
down
is starting to move, and honestly, I think the Rams are not going to advertise it like they're advertising it for Cooper Kupp, but I believe Matthew Stafford is available. Now you're going to have to pay quite a bit to get him, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. There's a price on him. And I think the Vikings could potentially justify paying it, except for the fact that we just don't have any picks.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. It's brutal when you look at the Vikings draft situation. And that's something Kwesi, by the way, we got to nail some picks soon. If you look at the Vikings compared to look at what Detroit's doing, look at what Green Bay's doing, look at who's the other team? Was Philadelphia, right? In these drafts, how successful they've been outside of the first round. I just read off the Packers players the other day. It's like, you have Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, Edrin Cooper, the Lions, Amon-Ra, and, Kirby Joseph. And you just keep going down the list of great players these teams have been drafting. And the Vikings have I know that we trade a lot and we went and got Hawkinson with the second round pick, but I mean, these other teams are building up in the draft really nicely, and Kwesi's got to fix it.
It's hard when you make that giant trade up for Dallas Turner to do that.
Yeah, I know. Now,
I'm saying I was all over that.
Yeah, no, you were. And I'm still okay with it. Kwesi put his chips in the Dallas Turner and JJ McCarthy basket, or put his eggs in that basket, and that's fine. We'll see if it works out. I'm just saying, we need to start hitting on some picks. Okay,
I'll tell you what's not going to work out is trading Myles Garrett. That can't be done.
What was the story that I missed?
So Josh Jacobs in a radio interview today was talking about the Packers situation. And this is unlike JJ McCarthy. I think he did say something that's interesting, and it's got some players in the Packers locker room upset. Here's what Josh Jacobs said. I'm pulling up the quote here.
Let him
he said, he was talking about needs, and he said, I'd like to have a DN. I think we need another DB, but I think we really need a wide receiver. I love the guys we have in the receiving room. They all have a lot of a potential. But we need a guy that's proven to be a number one. Then you have Dontavion Wicks come out and say, he doesn't buy that at all. He thinks that the room's perfectly good. He thinks there's plenty of guys in there. Josh Jacobs has to come out and say, well, I'd really like to get Devontae Adams.
Wow, I did not see any of this.
No, so Josh Jacobs is going on radio shows now saying that they need to get fresh blood in. They need a guy who can actually carry the load at number one. Tom Grassi reacted saying that if you were upset about that, good. Packers wide receivers need to step up. But
you're right. You know what? Now, if I were Josh Jacobs,
that's a big move. If you're Josh Jacobs in the locker room to come out and say the guys we have aren't good enough, I think we really need to get someone new. How about Devontae Adams, the guy who slammed the door on his way out?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's saying what everybody knows, but you should. If I were Josh Jacobs, I'm not putting that out on the radio for all of Wisconsin.
Wicks reacted with 4 laughing emojis and a thumb down.
Wait, say that one more time?
On Twitter. Dontavian Wicks reacted with 4 laughing emojis and a thumb down on Twitter.
Jaden Reed said, a lot of y'all Packer fans, so F you, man. Bash your own players. What?
No, this is actually blowing things up in the locker room.
Yeah, Reed said that about the Packers fan base.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They're not happy about the way they're being talked about right now. And honestly, I blame them.
Well, the show's called
room was unacceptable.
The show's called No BS. It's No BS. I think that was the guy. Yeah, these are the guys from that we interacted with. Yeah, that's hysterical, dude. Yeah, I would not come out and say that if I were Josh Jacobs. I mean, he's right. I think that the Packers do need the number one receiver, and you could see it clearly at times, especially when one of the 4 dudes was out. Right? In those situations, you could see the glaring need for an alpha receiver at times, but I wouldn't choose Radio Row to go out and say that. So
yeah, I mean, it's not like the Packers internally don't know they need a wide receiver. But here's the thing, right? Like last year, the Packers tried doing wide receiver by committee. We've seen running back by committee take the NFL by storm. Wide receiver by committee doesn't work. You need one of those guys that can get open almost every play and consistently catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And considering on drops per pass, the Packers led the NFL last year. The only teams that were even close to them in the number of drops were teams that threw the ball much, much more than them. Like they need a guy who's reliable. And I'm sorry, but like Romeo Doubs is not reliable. Watson's going to miss most of the year. Wicks is unreliable. Reed, maybe it was scheming, maybe it was him. He was the least reliable of the whole bunch. You need a guy you can count on. And with Devontae Adams, if he wants, he can become a free agent. The Jets have to renegotiate his contract unless they want to lock into $35 million next year, which they're not paying. So if he wants, he can say, nope, I'm going to Green Bay. You can't stop me. So it's a real possibility there. If he's open to a reunion, I think it can make a lot of sense. And I get why Josh Jacobs is trying to recruit him.
Dude, think about also, we talk about how young the Packers are, one of the youngest teams, the youngest team in the league. I think the youngest playoff team this year set the record, right? Or the second youngest team ever, only to last year's Packer team that made the playoffs. It's such a young team that you have someone like Devontae Adams come in there with those 4 receivers, can teach them a lot too. Like it's beyond just the impact on the field, but what you're going to get on the practice field, assuming that Devontae is willing to play that mentor role, which I assume he would. And we said on this show, if you don't have,
it's easy to play the mentor role when you're also the wide receiver 1.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and getting all the targets.
Yeah, if you don't have, we said it, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, which I don't think Jordan Love, most people would agree on that level. It's hard at this point in the NFL to have an elite offense when you don't have that dominant receiver. So I don't know if Devontae can consistently do that anymore the way he used to, but at the very least, you get a stud with very, very good depth behind him, and hopefully one of those guys
When the ball went
emerges.
his way this year, he looked about as good as anyone.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll wrap it up here. Super Bowl show, a little Vikings, a little Packers at the end. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back with a Super Bowl reaction on Sunday night. We'll see you then.